Well, I've seen it. Disclosure Day. Had a chance to watch it Thursday night, 2 days ago. Had time to process it, mull it over. If you've been following the channel, I did my out of theater initial thoughts and reactions. So you kind of know where this review's going because I feel the same, pretty much the same way and the same sentiments. If you guys know, I have made videos, like ranking. I made a video ranking my most anticipated 2026 projects. And I put Disclosure Day at a high B, like a high B tier. I was very excited for this. Love Spielberg. Trailer was very captivating for this. And, Spielberg and aliens, they go hand in hand. I love just seeing his creative vision with these things. So I was fairly confident that, this was going to be at least a really good movie. So I watched it, went in there. I think just so you guys know how the review's gonna go, it's this movie's a mixed bag. All right, I'm gonna go into the things I like about it first, and then after that, I'm gonna get into spoilers with some things that I'm mixed on and things that I don't like about this movie. So you're safe if you haven't seen it. You're safe for no spoilers for the first part of this, where I'm talking about things that I liked. So let's just get into it. First off, again, like I said in my initial reaction after the theater, I mean, you can clearly tell there's a professional behind the camera. Spielberg knows what he's doing with the camera work. There's a lot of camera movement in this film. Like, it kept like throwing me off because I haven't seen many movies like do this much of it. But there was just the camera was like doing 360s around characters, and then it'd go the other way, and then it'd go the other way for a different character, and it was like, okay, movement with the camera, creating some tension, I guess, is the idea there. But there was some really good work with the camera. The visuals, for the most part, are really good. Other things that I really liked, Emily Blunt was like 95% amazing in this movie. All right, there's some cheesy parts with the script and everything, but she did the best that she absolutely could with the script that she was given, and she was definitely a standout in this movie amongst every actor in the film. To be honest, she's like the clear first. So, and that's just not surprising at all. So, really good job to her. And then I would also say probably the last thing of note that I really, really liked was the last 10 minutes of the film. The last 10 minutes are what you would consider the payoff of the film to be. Again, no spoilers, but I might circle back to this with my spoilers so I can describe it more. But the 10 minutes are great. The last 10 minutes. You know what? I'm not even going to say great. I'm going to say it's really good. But is it worth sticking around a 2.5 hour movie to see the last 10 minutes? Probably not. You know what I mean? The payoff at the end is satisfying, and I think it's worth watching. Just so you know, if I'm gonna give my rating out of 10, I'll give my rating out of 10 before I go into the things I really didn't like, or the things that I'm really mixed on. I'm probably giving this movie out of 10, and you'd know what I give this movie if you follow me on Letterboxd down in the description below. It's probably sitting around like the 6 range. All right, like 6.3, 6.4 out of 10 here. And I'm just gonna get right into a negative here, and this is a non-spoiler. Still, just for this negative, this movie has no rewatchability. It was a chore to get through this film, especially Act Two, and like the second half, the last section of Act One, full Act Two, and then maybe like the last 20 minutes of the movie really start to take form again. So there's a huge stretch of maybe an hour and 30 that was honestly exhausting. I think there's some heavy pacing issues in this film. So that was tough. I honestly can't remember the last film I watched where I was feeling that in the theater, to be honest. This movie felt 3 hours at least. Let's go into the things I'm mixed on and negative. If you haven't seen this in the theaters, personally, I wouldn't recommend it. I'd watch it when it comes out on streaming. Don't pay the $30, to go see this in the theater. But up to you. Up to you. It was definitely disappointing, and not what I was expecting. and not the trajectory I thought the movie was going to go based on the trailers, to be honest. So, things I'm mixed on. Okay, there's some like social commentary going on with the aliens here, and this is spoilers. Okay, apparently they want to study the empathy that we have. Interesting. Empathy is what separates and makes it what distinguishes humanity, which is true. Just to a good extent. Okay, and then there's like commentary with the humans treating the aliens poorly. We see in the footage, experimenting on them, causing them pain, keeping them a secret in captivity. I'm assuming not letting them do what they want. I'm assuming the alien at the end we had like put him on ice for decades. So there's like subliminal messaging of how empathy should be focused on within humanity, and which okay, true. Is that what I would expect aliens to be seeking if they came to Earth? Absolutely not. And there's other, social commentaries besides that. Like a big focus was faith. One of the characters in the movie, I think her name was Anne. She used to be an ex nun. She used to be a nun, and for the last later part of Act One, they go to a monastery where she was working, and she used to work, and she met with this older nun that mentored her, and the writing in this movie is very, very shoddy. Okay, I do respect the writing for giving like a fair consideration to faith and religious belief with the idea of extraterrestrial life existing, and those two worldview and reality meshing and being able to be fine and not contradicting each other. So I respect that. There was a heavy notion from Anne and from um, some other characters that they don't think the world is ready for the disclosure day, because people of faith around the world, their belief systems will just be shattered, and they won't know what to do, and they'll have this reckoning within themselves. And I suppose if that were to happen, yeah, there'd be some upheaval, there'd be some questioning of what do I believe now that this is factored in. Do I think it would cause mass chaos? I actually don't. Um, I don't think that the results would be as dramatic as the movie's painting them to be. I do appreciate that, there was the section where the nun was like, hey, actually, if it was proven that aliens are real and they do exist and they've been to Earth, I don't have a problem with it. Genesis says that humanity is God's, special creation on Earth. So she makes the specification of on Earth, meaning there could be other worlds out there where God has a special creation for us, a special, humanity over there on another planet. So the two realities could mesh. Fair. I mean, that's a take, and it's more than a lot of movies do. A lot of movies, just with the writing, they'll be like, "You're a Christian, you're a Muslim or something." Oh, what do you think now, huh? What do you think now? Your faith is pretty much useless now, right? And it's not the case. And I've never seen a movie touch on other explanations or other logical reasonings that you could have to reconcile those two realities. The nun explains, literally states in the trailer too, why would God create such a vast universe and just save it for us? Well, what if that's the point? I've never seen a movie tackle this perspective. What if that's the point? What if the creator wanted to show his massive amount of power by creating an infinite universe and having one specific species of humanity on one planet? Would that even further demonstrate his specificity, love, and intention with humanity? Of course it would. And that would be a great thing. That would cause us to be so in awe of God that he would create such vastness as an expression of himself, but focus his love for one species on one planet. There's a perspective you don't really hear. And that's equally as possible. Okay, and there's also the perspective of, let's grant there is extraterrestrial life out there. Okay, maybe there are other life forms out there. If you want to take the mass popular idea that how can there not be life outside of our solar system? Look how big the universe is. Like, mathematically, it should make sense, right? There has to be something out there with the size of everything. Okay, that's a reasonable argument. There's no proof, but it's a reasonable idea. So let's say there is alien life out there. Who's to say that that life isn't just like animals that we have here on Earth? Maybe, highly intelligent. They're more highly advanced than us, but they're just a different species than human. And what if God is only concerned with humanity for, salvation, redemption, eternal life, things like this? Christianity in particular, I can't speak for other religions too specifically, but there's plenty of religions that don't believe that animals will be in heaven. And so why would it just be the case that this extraterrestrial life visiting Earth is just like any other animal species, non-human species, and salvation doesn't apply to them? And God did create them, but just like the lions and birds and all other animals like that, everything pertaining to religion is exclusive to humanity. And so that the introduction of a new species doesn't contradict anything. You know what I mean? So there's other perspectives you can take. And I don't want to get I know I kind of got too deep in the weeds on that, but there's never an intentionality with the writing to go that deep and to be fair to both sides. I think it's just religion is kind of just like a punching bag in most movies. Well, science, science, and your stupid faith, you know what I mean? So, but at least the writing was a little fair, like I said, that the two worldviews can mesh. And then some other things that I'm mixed on. The very end, the alien is brought in, whispers something to, gosh, I'm forgetting his name. Fellner? Is it Fellner? He can speak the language through mathematics, and he whispers it to Emily Blunt's character, and then she goes on air and she says, "Listen." And we never hear what the alien had to say. And I doubt there's a sequel coming, so we're just never gonna know. Part of the expectation coming in from the trailer and just knowing what the movie's premise is, I think a lot of us were expecting that there would be the disclosure day, everyone would realize, and we get to see maybe what the aliens' purpose here was, what they were thinking, what they want to communicate to us, and how the world reacts to that. We saw none of that. We saw a bunch of people staring at their phones in the streets, which brings me to another thing I'm mixed on. If there was a disclosure day on the news, on all news outlets, I don't think you're going to see a bunch of people stopping what they're doing in the streets, in public, just staring at their phones, all right? I don't think that's how media is consumed nowadays, to be honest. Most people, at least in my generation, they're getting their news, not live. They're getting it from TikTok, Instagram Reels, and maybe some YouTube. Like when a news outlet is live on YouTube, they'll go to that. But that's like all through word of mouth, you know what I mean? Unless they scroll past it. And so everyone simultaneously going to the news, the live news feed, and checking out what's being discovered. I don't think everyone's going to get hit with that and simultaneously be reacting like that. I just found it a little unrealistic. But that's not a terrible gripe I have. And I guess I'll go into the bad now, like the things I really didn't like. The writing is just poor, dude. It's poor. This is it's a generic 2010s political chase movie or series, to be honest. This movie could have easily been just like a 5-6 episode series, and they could have probably sectioned off some stuff better, created anticipation and high thrilling sequences in sprinkled throughout the episodes to keep people engaged. But they were just too few and far between in this. The writing was bad in the sense that there are plot devices, plot armor implemented in the character's decision making that just don't make sense. No one would do it. No one. The guy comes in from the woods, sees that the agents are at the house and they're gonna raid it. They're looking at the house, and he goes up behind them. Instead of running back into the woods, he runs up right behind them, gets in one of their vehicles, hopes that a key is in the car, and drives through them. into the house. Like, bro, Anne's compromised, yo. She's gone. Okay? You gotta run back in the woods, dude. If this thing you're holding is so important to you, okay? So that made no sense. Some other decision making was just bad, and I could get into it, but I'm not going to. The plot device of the alien crystal stone thing, I mean, it's just kind of a MacGuffin that they're just using, that Spielberg wanted to use to help the story out so we didn't have to explain some things, right? Because again, we got really no explanation of what this thing is, which is another disappointing thing. They can use it to go invisible, they can use it to communicate with people across the country and infiltrate their mind. If you touch it without a glove, you explode, but then you reappear in a scene after. So is it really that dangerous? I don't know. Didn't show it as dangerous. They drop you into act 3 of what seems to be the movie in the very first scene of this film, and it looks like this thing, if you squeeze it an inch, everyone's toast. It's like an atom bomb, but it's not. So it's just it's a major plot device, and just overall, the like I said in the beginning, the pacing is just really really grueling, and there's no rewatchability to this movie. I'm not gonna watch it again. Like I said, I'm probably gonna give it a 6 out of 10 or so. Very, very disappointing. This does not help my case from what I've stated previously. If you've been following the channel, that I think this year could be the best year for films ever. Disclosure Day was part of that discussion. So was Backrooms, and Backrooms was pretty good, like an 8 out of 10 or so. What do you guys think? Let me know what you're feeling. I was expecting more for sure from Spielberg here, but I don't really think it's all his fault. I really think it's the writing. Again, comment what you guys think. Follow me on Letterboxd if you haven't. We got a big slate of movies coming out that I'm even more excited for. So I'm still optimistic about this year. We're gonna keep this ball rolling. We got Supergirl next this month, so you'll get my review for that. And I'm confident I like it more than this film, so I'm ready. Subscribe, comment what you think below. We're building this channel from the ground up. Help a brother out. See you in the next video.